are we gonna commentate today?
In the top right-hand corner. Does he play for a team? Oh no, I'm not certain. He is the red Terran player. It's jheffe.
Currently teamless.
I thought so.
And his opponent in the bottom left-hand side, my teammate, and an American Terran player. His name is Vindicta. Now, I'm going to try being as unbiased as I possibly can, Grant. But I will say, I'm very proud of Alpha X. If you look at the participants in this tournament from both the qualifiers and the invites, of the 16 players, 5 of them are from Team Alpha X, who has really been putting up pretty impressive numbers in the NA region in the last year. They've gone from a fairly, I don't know, underwhelming's the wrong word, but sort of a very quiet team, just picking up some very quiet players too in the last 12 months, making some huge acquisitions, and it's really showing off.
Yeah, I mean, Alpha X is one of those teams that are going leaps and leaps and bounds. The owner, also called Grant, not called me, is a super kick-ass dude as well. So I'm a really big fan of the organization. I got to do some stuff for them earlier, towards the middle of last year, a year ago. And I haven't done much with them since, but they have an incredible team of casters and players. Let's not write off people like Kozan, Captain Knut, all of those incredible people. Oh, yeah. Miguel, doing incredible stuff across multiple platforms, and I love to see it.
It is really cool. Well, enough. I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to talk to. It's very dangerous when a commentator talks about their own team. You get the, who's the Dallas Cowboys quarterback? You get the John Elway effect, where anytime the Cowboys are playing, he's a big fan.
Honestly, have any idea how, like, do you really think I'm like, oh yeah, that guy, yeah, I understand that completely.
You don't know John Elway?
I know one quarterback. What's his name?
Tom Brady.
Yeah, I know him, and I know the Gronk person.
Gronkowski, yeah. They're the two most handsome guys in football. They both used to play for my team, the New England Patriots. If you're going to know anybody in American football, those are the guys to know. Reaper's doing a little bit of damage here. One grenade is going to go down. Looks like Vindicta is going to win this fight, though, and that's it.
Ouch.
Man, TVT is volatile these days sometimes, Grant. Yikes.
I didn't talk about the game, literally at all.
There's nothing to talk about. Reaper shots going down, Vindicta winning that Reaper duel, and that from there you just know you're in such a deep hole that it's nigh impossible to come back. And I think if you're watching that casually and listening to our casting because you're trying to figure out what the hell's going on, and you're like, man, he quit that game very early, didn't he? No, not really.
No.
Grant, talk about the position you're in if you lose a Reaper in the early game.
So the most important thing there was that Vindicta brought an SCV with him, and what that did is the SCV managed to get a couple of tickles off the Reaper of jheffe, and that meant that jheffe's Reaper died. Vindicta still had a Reaper alive and an SCV, and that meant he was going to win any trades going forward. He was going to slow down the command center until at least another Reaper came out, but the Reaper would have regened, and so it would have been an advantage. It was probably until at least the first factory unit came out that he would have been able to take a CC. He would have been playing at least 30 seconds behind, and unfortunately, in a matchup where you're doing the exact same thing, you cannot be 30 seconds behind. It's like in, I'm going to go full American, like in NASCAR. If you're 30 seconds behind, that's a lot, you know?
If you ain't first, you're last.
What he said. Yeah. So, unfortunately for jheffe, it was a very small mistake. It happens. You lose one unit in an early game where you have the exact same things, and you just lose the game.
Yeah, it snowballs uncontrollably from there. I'll tell you, Grant, I'm really tempted to cast this entire next series with a really bad Southern accent just to make you cringe. But I feel like I'll save that for another cast.
Yeah, maybe I'm too tired for that.
you just won't hear it. I remember when I was teaching Korean, I would try and tell my students that like accents are a real thing, and so when you go abroad, people will not sound the same, and I would perform some different American accents for them, and they would lose their little Korean minds. Those poor kids could not handle how different English accents are. I did British for them too, and they lost it. They couldn't deal. But let's get into game number 2 here, because we can't spend the entire game talking about nothing in particular. Spawning the top left-hand side in the blue, it is our unteamed Terran player in the blue. His name is incredibly difficult to pronounce. It is jheffe.
And his opponent on the bottom right-hand side, playing for Team Alpha X. He is the American Terran player. In red, it's Vindicta. Jheffe. I'm just going to say it as Jheffe. It's so difficult. It's so difficult for my innocent English mouth to make that noise.
You gotta get some phlegm in your throat. Jheffe. You gotta really sauce it up a bit, like it's properly Spanish. Jheffe. Jeez. So we see standard builds here and identical builds here on both sides. Orbital commands, supply depots, factories behind the barrack, and the first Reaper on its way out. Now the question is going to be, is the Reaper going to go across the map to do damage for these players, or is one of them going to leave their Reaper back home to try and play a little more defensively? Looks like Vindicta is queued back home.
Yeah, if I'm Jheffe this game, I'm certainly staying home. He made the mistake of going out last game. You can scout for a proxy very quickly and make sure nothing's coming. But he moved out, he got caught out of position, and he lost the game because of it last time. This time he is going to stay home. Maybe wait for a second one. Excuse me.
Sorry, yeah, maybe wait for a second one.
Or the first Hellion to come out, but yeah, we'll be playing relatively defensive this game, because you don't want to lose to something so silly.
Yeah, now this is really interesting here. Jheffe going for that natural expansion, whereas we see the 1-1-1 coming down from Vindicta. Vindicta has not yet committed to anything else expansion-wise. He's cut SCV production. He's just building this starport, and he's getting 2 more Reapers out of that barracks. Oh, Grant. Yeah. Vindicta's going to hit hard.
Yeah, Vindicta's after a quick series now. What we need to see here from Jheffe is more either a very, very fast tank or Cyclone. Cyclone can be very good here, and he needs to start it soon. Okay, he's trying, but he's supply blocked. Oh gosh, okay, it starts very soon. And he also needs to identify this. He hasn't seen anything yet, so he doesn't know, because when you have like 5 Reapers, a few Hellions coming at your door, you have to have something good. Now, let's take a look at the unit tabs right now. We can see there are 3 Reapers here for Vindicta, and one, so there's 2 extra Hellions, 1 extra Reaper. Now that is a lot in a matchup that's the exact same, but the Cyclone makes a difference because it instantly blows up the Hellions, and then Reaper versus Reaper takes so long that the Cyclone can dish out enough DPS. We are seeing a Viking coming in as well. The supply block again for Jheffe. How long is it going to be? Oh, okay, until the CC finishes. The Viking can land, and that makes a big difference too.
Yeah, I think Vindicta hit a little bit late here.
Oh god, that's scary.
I think he was hoping to get the SCV that was building that low ground command center. He didn't snipe that, but so far no losses from Vindicta, and his army supply is still pretty much ahead of his opponent. Hellion's going to trade some fire here. That's going to force Vindicta back to the opening of the natural, but he can shell down away at this supply depot forever, and if he gets this supply depot, Jheffe might be a supply block yet again.
The medevac's so smart. If you get locked onto by the Cyclone, you load up into the medevac, instantly drop it, and it breaks that spell. Oh, that's genius. We're going to see now. Okay, the medevac does go down. This is good. The Viking can now zone out here. It's got the threat of landing, and it does so much damage to all of these light units. Actually, he's going to chase down. He's going to get a few kills here. This has ended up being pretty good right now for Jheffe. Yeah. As he pushes away his opponent, he gets the CC down. How many workers? It's quicker than his opponent, whose CC isn't done, let alone an orbital. And Jheffe takes a good position in this map too.
Yeah, that's a big mistake out of Vindicta, not just overcommitting and losing that medevac, I think, which was maybe inevitable if he was going to keep that aggression on, but most importantly, he moved back outside the base, the position he's in now, and just sitting there for a while, and Vindicta's going to continue this push. Maybe a bit of overconfidence here from Vindicta. Yeah. He's going to lock on and get the Cyclone in the background. Grenade going to help out tank unsieged. I'm not sure if there's enough here from Vindicta, though.
No, as soon as the reinforcements come out alongside this tank, everything should go down. You can see the reinforcements now coming down. There was also a Liberator, but it didn't join the fight. It didn't join the fight or go for harassment. It just sort of flew over the main and died, right? Yeah.
It did. Yeah, it flew over the main, tried to set up, and then the Viking was already there, so he wasn't able to siege up in time. Now, Vindicta did pick off a tank, and the resources lost tab in favor of Jheffe just a little bit. The Viking coming
but look at the worker count
now. Yeah, the worker count is the big problem right now for Vindicta. 38 workers to 29. And I wonder if Vindicta will bother playing this out for too much longer. He is in a very difficult position from which to recover.
Yeah, Vindicta's playing. He's playing okay though. Like he's still getting his Raven. He's actually a Raven up, soon to have a second Raven, so he has that advantage. It looks like our blue Terran player Jheffe is going to be going for a quick third CC, a relatively quick third CC, and he's going to have that advantage. He wants to play this out with the advantage that he's built up. When ahead, get more ahead, you know? So we're seeing that. He's going to also try to establish air dominance. He's adding in more and more Vikings, but he only made 1 Raven. And the Raven advantage will be heavily in Invicta's oh my gosh, I cannot talk, favor. And this is looking like there's definitely still a chance here for Vindicta. The game's not over.
It's all right, Grant. I know how you're feeling. I'm also a little bit tired today, and I feel like my amount of tired is probably about 4 hours behind your amount of tired. So I imagine what I'm feeling now, you felt 4 hours ago. But we'll get through it.
All day.
You're doing just fine, man. We're doing great here.
I'm just on loads of painkillers, mate. That's all it is. Saklan goes down here for Vindicta. jheffe right now is up 11 workers. He is up a little bit in army supply and moving out as well, which is nice. If you can set up a soft container of some kind whilst his third goes down at home, and you can see right now that is orbitaling up as we speak, then he's going to be able to take a very commanding position, more than he already has so far. Of course, there are no medevacs or anything just yet. In fact, we're not seeing any medevacs, despite the fact that it is bio for either team.
So smart, though. Vindicta coming into the pincer movement here. Going to move into the top side and the bottom side. Ravens dropping those auto turrets down. The Vikings won't clean up any of the Ravens yet. Focus firing down those, and jheffe knows he can't do it. He loses way too much in that initial engagement. GG, and Vindicta takes another lickety-split victory.